Hello pluckers and strummers, my name's Graeme. I'm going to take you through the first steps of learning how to play the ukulele. It's a great place to start playing music, and a great place to start if you're going to learn to play guitar later. So everything's transferable from the ukulele to the guitar, but it's much less painful than learning the guitar. The strings are much softer and easier on the fingers. All the shapes and the strumming technique is directly transferable. And if you've already bought a guitar and you'd like to start learning, I have ukuleles that students can borrow to learn, to get them going. Just a couple of months on the ukulele can make all the difference in the enjoyment of learning the guitar. Anyway, let's start at the beginning. I'll just play quickly what we're going to learn how to play. Okay? It's just like a generic chord sequence that's in a lot of songs. A lot of songs. Okay, so you can hear from that I'm strumming away on chords. There's another side of ukulele playing, which is like playing notes like this. And you can hear that's a different thing altogether. We're going to look at the strumming for now. The picking you can come at later. Right, there was 3 chords in that song. There was this one, and this one. Okay, they are called C, F and G, all major chords, C, F and G major. Okay, we're going to start with the easiest one, which is the C. Okay, and what we've got there is you use one finger. I recommend using second or third. So let's try it with the second. These fingers are numbered 1, 2, 3 and 4. Your thumb doesn't have a number in ukulele playing. And it gets steadily harder. This one's easy to use, this one's a bit less easy to use. This one's getting harder, and this one's really difficult. Fortunately, in these chords, we only use the first 3. So by the time we get to the G chord, you'll have to start using this third finger, but you'll be that used to the other 2 chords now. You'll be an expert, and it'll be dead easy. Right. So with your second finger, if you count up, like the metal lines here are called frets. Okay. If you count up the frets, that's number 1, number 2, and number 3. So just behind the 3rd fret here, I'm going to put your second finger, like so. Okay? And that goes kind of near to this 3rd fret. The fret is what the string presses against to make the noise. And you're pressing the string down against the fret. The fretboard kind of just holds the frets in place, like the piece of wood here. Holds the frets in place for the string to press against. It's a common mistake to think that you're trying to press the string down onto the fretboard to create the sound, but the string pressing onto the fretboard is a byproduct of getting the string to press against the fret. Okay, and if I was to play just this string where I've played pressing this chord down, it's this note. Okay, and if I strum across all the strings, you can hear there we've got a nice sweet sounding chord, right? And that's a C chord, right? So if you got your ukulele, just to check we're in tune with each other, they're my notes, which I'm sure you're tuned to. I just tuned to my tuner, so we should be good. Right, the strum, right? You can play without a plectrum, but I'd recommend trying to use a plectrum, especially if you're thinking of moving on to guitar later. And you can if you play lots and lots and lots, you won't be able to keep your nails long enough to keep up with the strumming. You'll wear them out quicker than you can grow them. So a plectrum is essentially a false nail that you can put in your pocket rather than having to wear false nails all the time. The way to hold it is if you start with your hand out like so, and then just let it curl over, so relax. So obviously you have to be a bit tense to be straight, so just let it relax. you'll have this sort of shape. If you pop your plectrum on your finger there, so it sticks out almost at 90 degrees, just rotate it a little bit anti-clockwise, so it's not coming out exactly at 90 degrees to your finger. So about like that, about an 1/8 of a turn away, and then just pop your thumb over it, and this movement here is like the control of the angle of your plectrum. But you can see, like, sort of, it's like resting in the middle of the plectrum. My finger's like behind it there, and I'm just going to press on. So have so much sticking out the end, not like this, and not like that. Okay, and so we're not trying to make it come out the end of the finger either, like that. It's coming out sort of like the end of the thumb. Okay, you see that line straight down, so you can see it from underneath and top. Okay, and then when you pluck in, it's the leading edge that you want to pluck strum with. Okay, so as you're holding it with your thumb facing up, it's on the left hand side and the side that's facing the floor. Okay, and you have it slightly angled to achieve that, not flat against the strings that way, more like that, angled. Okay, so let's just try that. So 4 down strums like this. Okay, an easy mistake to make is that you move the plectrum across the strings too slowly, and it causes what's called a rake, which is a useful technique to have, but not for all the time. I'll demonstrate a rake would be like, hear that, da-da-da-da. But with a strum, we're trying to get it to sort of sound like it's all being played at the same time. So like, hear that, but so bum, not, or it starts to sound like old English lute music, which is not what we're aiming at, as nice as it is. Right. Okay. You can see, plectrum's gone a bit AWOL there. So with the strum action, it's partly up and down and partly turning the doorknob. Okay, like that, like flicking water off the end of your plectrum. Right. So we've done the downstroke there on the C chord, like so. And you're hearing the strum that I was doing earlier. It was going down, 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 up, like so. Down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up. Okay. So when you do the downstroke, I've already said it's on this side that's facing the floor, on the left-hand side as you look at your plectrum. Then on the upstroke, it's the side that's facing the ceiling, on the right hand side of the plectrum. So as it goes down that way and then up that way, then it doesn't get stuck on your strings. If you have it flat like this, and then when you come back up, it gets stuck under each string, and you end up having to move your whole wrist like this to get it to. You see that? That's quite a big action now. Whereas if I just do it with it at an angle. Right, so with that in mind, let's try down, 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 up, like this, nice and slowly. Down, 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 up, down, up, down. Okay, if you get it wrong, don't stop. Just try and carry on, because every time you make a mistake, if you stop and then start again, you're kind of training yourself to, if you make a mistake, stop playing, which obviously is not what you want when you're serenading a beautiful lady or a lovely man, and you make a slight mistake. If you stop, he's gonna or she's gonna notice. You just carry on. And most of the time people won't notice, or they'll forget very quickly that it went wrong. Right, okay. The second chord is an F. Now this is a little bit harder, but you've already used your second finger, so now you're going to use your first finger and your second finger. Okay, so this first fret here, the first metal line, put your first finger behind that metal line, which is called the first fret, on the second string. So not this one nearest the floor, the next one, the string. So your first finger goes there, and then your second finger goes on this bottom string here, on the second fret. Just for reference, before we move on, it's upside down to what you'd expect to label the strings. This is the top one, and this is the bottom one. It's a bit counterintuitive, but that's how it goes. So this is the top and going down to the bottom. Right. So you get your second finger on the bottom string on the second fret, and your first finger on the second string on the first fret. So put them both down together, it should sound like that. Now, an easy mistake to make is that your fingers are coming in at too slight an angle, like so. They need to be sort of nearer to right angles compared with the fretboard. Otherwise, this area of your finger behind, like you'll be plucking, fretting the strings just about here. I'm just showing you with the plectrum. But this pad area of your finger will mute the strings that you're not playing if you're not careful. Like if I put them in a shallow angle like this, see that one's not working. Those two strings that should be open and ringing are not making any noise. Whereas if I straighten my fingers a bit, so they're coming in at more of a sharp, steeper angle, so those two strings are now nicely ringing open. Okay? Alright. So then that's your first two chords sorted, C and F. Now, at this point you might want to just go between those two chords quite a lot. And then back to the C. To the F. Okay, right, now the monster chord, the G, this is a bit more challenging because you're using three fingers. Okay, they come in a little triangle shape, like there, and there. You can see that's forming a little triangle. So these two fingers are both on the second fret on strings 1 and 3. Then the third finger here goes on fret 3 on string 2. So it gives you this triangle. Poof, poof, poof. Triangle. Okay. Alright. That'll take a bit of working in, that one, well, but just persevere with it. The feeling of frustration in normal life is the feeling of progress when you're playing music. So try not to let that frustrating feeling get you down. As long as it feels like you're frustrating and you're like, you're probably progressing quite well. If you've only been playing a few hours and you're like, oh, this is easy, you're probably playing terribly and not getting anywhere. Okay, so you've got your first chord, move to the F, then to the G, in the chord progression I showed you at the beginning, the G was much shorter than the other two chords. and then there was a little F chord as well. So we just have to explain about bars of music. And a bar is like the word that we use for a chunk. Okay, so one chunk of this particular piece is this long. Goes down, 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 up, down, up. All right. So on the C, we're going to have 2 chunks of C, 2 chunks of F, and then 1 chunk of G, 1 chunk of F, and we're back at the beginning. So like this. Down, 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 up, 2, down, down, up, 1, 2, down, up, 2, down, up, 1, down, up, 1, and we're back at the beginning now. Okay. So you've got it. You've got this. Easy. Alright, if you want some lessons, you can give me a shout, a message on Facebook, or my email address and phone number are in the About section of my Facebook page. Give me a call anytime. I'd love to hear from you. We can start at absolute beginner. I love showing people music from the start. I find it really rewarding. There's no shame in not being able to do it. It's hard. That's why not everybody does it. Jimi Hendrix, when he first started, he couldn't play guitar. And he turned out okay as a guitarist. So don't panic, as they say. Give me a shout and we'll sort it out. No worries.